What's up, YouTube land?
So we're here with Wario Land 3, which is one of my all-time favorite games.
This is
a game I've wanted to do for years, but I just never felt the drive or ambition to do it justice.
It's definitely one of those games where you need to know it ahead of time, or else the Let's Play would be like, where do I go? Where do I go?
Yeah, it's this game is a lot of fun, and I love it in pretty much every way possible, but it does get a little confusing with how open-ended and non-linear it can be sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is odd, because Wario Land 1 and 2, which you might be wondering why I'm not LPing those games, they're both great games, but Wario Land 3 is just like an objective improvement in pretty much every regard compared to the first two games, in my opinion, even though this game is also very different. So I just wanted to start with 3.
Yeah, 1 and 2 are much more standard side-scrollers. 2 you can die, right?
Yes.
So in this game, the big gimmick is that you don't have a health bar, you don't have lives, you can't die, but you can turn into a bunch of different, I guess, phases of Wario.
Yeah, not only do enemies transform you into a lot of different power-ups, either temporary or permanent, but you also get permanent upgrades as well. So Wario is decked out in this game. It very much feels like a Metroid game, which is probably why I love this game so much.
Dude, the Game Boy Color was so weird. It has, like, absolute classics like this, the Zelda games, Metal Gear, but, like, when you compare it to a lot of the, like, dribble on it, oh my god. Like, when I think of Game Boy Color, I think of just a bunch of, like, bad Mary-Kate and Ashley games.
Yeah.
Which isn't fair, but
the problem with the GameCube, or the problem with the Game Boy Color is that it came out in '98, right? So it really only had, like, 3 years of dedicated support for it until the Game Boy Advance came out. And even the Game Boy Advance came out in, like, early 2001, and then the DS came out a few years later, too.
Like, so 05 or something like that, yeah.
Both of the systems are a little weird in that way, where the original Game Boy had 9 uncontested years of games.
So, here's a little piece of wisdom for you that you might not know. Game Boy Color games that are black cartridges, you can actually play on the original Game Boy, just not in color. Whereas Game Boy Color games with the green cartridge, such as this is a green cartridge one, you can only play on the color. Or obviously the Advance or whatever. But it can't play on a Game Boy or a Game Boy Pocket or anything like that. I actually didn't know that until my adult life. I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah, that was the thing. I really didn't. That you could play Pokemon Gold and Silver on an original Game Boy, because they're not like the newer style cartridge, but you can't play Pokemon Crystal on a newer style cartridge. So that's something I didn't know until my adult life, so it's pretty interesting.
So the main gimmick of this game, other than how it's played, is every stage has a set of 4 keys and 4 chests. And your goal really is just to find the color key. It's usually always the gray key is the first one, and then finding the correctly colored chest, and then you get an item. Either a plot progressing item that unlocks more stuff, or a power-up.
And if you get one, okay, that answers my question. It stays with you. Cool, so there is a way to, like, 100% this game.
Yes.
Okay.
And another thing is, if you saw I picked up a music coin, 1 out of 8, we're not going to be messing with those for a long time. So they're a little weird. You have to get all 8 in one go, so if you get 1, it doesn't matter. So that's something we're going to be doing literally like the last thing in the game. Because
as you get more power-ups, you can get to different places.
I mean, a lot of the 8 music coins is literally doing all the content that the stage has to offer. Yeah. So some stages have like multiple bosses and different things to do.
Wow. I think the thing that's unique about this game, and as you can tell, Trevor got hit on purpose, so he can be this.
Yeah, so it's weird that the first transformation that you see is the zombie, but the zombie, if you touch a semi-solid platform, you go through it with your hat for some reason, and you have to touch a light source to become human again. So it's a permanent transformation other than that. But this game is all about... It's such an interesting way of game design of... the enemies are both obstacles in your way, but the enemies are also...
helpful.
mandatory power-ups at the same time. So you have to manipulate them and also avoid them. It's such a... I don't think any other game has ever done something like this.
Wario Land 4 stayed like that, right?
Wario Land 4 is more of a traditional Wario Land.
Oh, okay.
It's still different enough, but it still has like a regular health bar. There are enemy transformations, but it's much more like cut and dry, like what you're supposed to do.
I think the best way to explain this game would be, so there's games that are platformers, there's games that are puzzles, and there's games that are puzzle platformers, right? This is a puzzle game that happens to have platforms, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would definitely... It's definitely a puzzle platformer, and it almost feels more like a puzzle game more than anything.
Which is funny, because I normally hate puzzle games, but I really like this game, so I'm glad Trevor's doing it.
Yeah, so I had to be invisible to get past this eyeball thing. Now, sometimes you have to learn the quirks of a power-up. The invisibility just goes away when you go through a pipe for some reason. So there's some times when you just have to, like, figure out what's going on. A lot of them are self-explanatory, but the invisibility...
Now, you couldn't open the... You can't do anything when you're invisible.
Yeah, when you're invisible, if you go next to the chest, it doesn't do anything.
Da, 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 da.
I'm probably gonna start. I have a speed up on a key on. I'm doing this on emulator. I'm a bad boy.
Rip.
I might skip through those chest opening scenes. As cool as they are, it's just
once you see it a couple times, it's like whatever.
It's
like if you did Mario 64 and you could skip past him going, "Here we go," you know what I mean? You like fine, you know.
I won't skip this stuff, obviously, but
I don't blame Trevor for doing it on emulator. There's sometimes where there's games I like look back and I'm like, man, I wish I played that on emulator.
Yeah. Also, Game Boy Color games is so awkward. It's like do it on the Game Boy Advance player with the.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, screw that.
Yeah, like the GameCube. I like the GameCube controller, but it is terrible for 2D platformers.
That's funny because I've only ever played Game Boy games, so I'm just like. It's me IRL.
Bad.
Me IRL.
So this is one that you can go through certain blocks that have a donut on them, and you get rid of it by just running around.
I was gonna say, I've only ever played Game Boy games, and I don't think I've ever played a Game Boy Color game for LPs.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it just doesn't have a whole lot of games on it. Like, there's some great games. I want to do Oracle Ages and Seasons one day, but that's another one that's just, like, you have to, like, figure out how to LP it, because, like, otherwise it's just going to be a boring mess.
Yeah. It's almost like you have to, like, what's that word that they do for speedruns? Route it out? Yeah, route's what I'm looking for. So, yeah, you have to, like, route it out, which sometimes I feel like doing that with certain games, and then sometimes I'm just like, no.
If you touch that silkworm, you literally get encased in this silk ball that has to touch the wall a couple times left and right. You have, like, no control over it.
Cool.
So you do not want to touch it.
Yeet!
So there's a lot of times when you unlock, like, 2 stages at a time that it's, like, it's basically just, like, do both of them, and you unlock the thing to progress forward.
The aesthetic of this game is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the graphics. I mean, obviously they're pretty simple because it's Game Boy Color, but I also really like the soundtrack, too. It's very Wario. Wario Land 1 is definitely the most Wario-sounding soundtrack. I mean, that one is just so crunchy, but this one is a great soundtrack.
Wow.
Yeah, this game, sometimes platforming, like crouch jumping like that, it really expects you to do it, so it's interesting. This game really doesn't feel like it was made for kids, especially with the puzzle
I wouldn't say so.
elements. And I think this game gets hard in the second half.
I think a kid could easily play like Wario Land 1, and I guess by Essence 2, I've never played 2, but I wouldn't want to see a kid playing this. They'd be like, what?
2 is really weird. It's the one I played the least for sure. I only beat it like one time. It's a good game. In fact, it uses the same sprite and pretty much the same like animations that this game does. But it's just like when you play, you're just like, I want to play Wario Land 3.
Yeah, yeet.
Oh, I guess I don't have it set up.
Rip.
Rip. Not gonna save that 2 seconds every chest.
But that allows you to have 1 more minute of gameplay.
Yeah, that's true.
1 more minute. Oh.
It's weird that it didn't make me remap the controls other than speed up. I guess that's like system config, probably in like stored on the computer locally somewhere. Alright, so I would say that this is like the first official, like, real stage.
Where it takes a bunch of thought.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to do, and even when you, ooh, so close. This one, weirdly, this is kind of tight. And it's hard to explain because, regardless of where you start this roll on the hill, like, when you jump, because of your height, you're, like, at the same distance anyway. So you really have to jump, like, immediately when you, touch the ground to get that.
Yeah, that's just a trial and error part right there, where you just keep jumping and you're like, oh wait, there's a key there. Cool.
There's a lot of times when, I want that.
What is that?
So you have coins. They're really only used for currency to play the minigame.
Ah.
But, having that's nice.
I remember this boss.
Yeah, so this is the first boss of the game. So, since you can't die, I kind of don't want to show it off because it's annoying. Get over here. No. Cool. So, because you can't die to any boss, usually the boss has some sort of gimmick where it will transform you in a way where you'll have to restart if you get hit one time.
Ugh.
And that boss, the hammer, makes you into a spring, and the spring shoots you up forward, so to immediately stop the boss battle and shoot me up past the semi-solid platforms. So we got our first power-up, ground pound. So this is another cool thing about this game. There's a bunch of power-ups, although not all of them are unique. A lot of them are just like better ground pound.
You know, that's I like how they show you all the different ones.
Yeah, it's cool.
Idea. That's something that's not really present in a lot of Mario-ish games. Permanent power-ups.
Yeah.
You know.
And this is the point where it's like, oh, you have to go back to previous stages to do stuff once you get certain power-ups, which is cool.
Backtracking, the worst. That's just, I don't know. I honestly don't care.
Yeah, it depends on the game. It even depends on the stage in this game. If there's like a really tedious like first thing you have to do over and over for every visit, yeah, it's annoying. But usually this game's pretty good about it.
Okay.
We're going to be seeing the first mini-game, which is, I mean, there's only one mini-game. And unfortunately it does outstay its welcome throughout this game, but it's still fun. You know what I just realized? This is actually really cool. They put a bunch of blocks before this minigame just to make sure that you had coins the first time you get to it. I never thought of that. That's such a good idea that you don't even, like, realize.
Ah, developers. Good guys.
Yeah, this was made by the late and great... I think it was Nintendo's R&D 1 team, which is... they made some of my favorite games of all time. And they didn't really get dissolved, but they got restructured in, I think, 2004 or 2005. But they made some amazing stuff. You should look that up on Wikipedia, folks. Oh, what am I doing?
Remember Wikipedia?
Yeah, remember, yeah, that went out of style, Wikipedia.
I remember when I was in high school, a billion years ago, the big thing was, because it was like, relative, I mean, I'm not saying it came out at the time in the mid-2000s, but it was to the point where, like, it was still relatively new in terms of, like, hey, it's this thing that people can just edit whenever they want. And I remember the librarians, whenever we were doing research projects, were always like, don't use Wikipedia.
I mean...
Don't use... And I'm sure it's still a thing nowadays, but, like,
yeah.
I'm sure it's, like, implied now. Don't use it, but I remember that being, like, a big thing where they're always like, no, don't even look up things on Wikipedia.
The thing is that is true, that any user can update anything that they want. But there's so many moderators and, like, people that, like, are so hardcore about it that you can never edit an article unless it's something super obscure.
Yeah.
And just put whatever you want. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't use it as like an official source. Like, of course, if I'm writing like an official paper, I'm not going to cite Wikipedia.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's very good for anything else.
I've personally never. How do I say this? I've never come across a page that was trolled, or something where I'm like, that's not even close to true. Like, I've read stuff that wasn't like 100% factual, or even like people, sometimes it'll say like, what's the source, whatever. But I've never come across one where it's like, Tom Brady is a giant poop. You know what I mean? Like on Tom Brady's page, it's like not a thing. And like, just the ridiculous amount of pages on there. It's like something you don't think about until you I'll look up I'll be like, hey, I remember this MLB player from 2005 who was on the Braves and had like a 3-year career, and you look him up and there he is on Wikipedia. It might not be long, an article, but it has an article and you're like, holy crap, And it's like, just pick any random MLB or NFL player and be like, any small one and be like, here you go. And there's like a wiki article, you know what I mean? Or like these small bands where it's like, they were a local band in San Diego in the early 90s. And like, there it is. Pretty crazy. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, that thing's me. I'll see you, guy.
Yeah, these guys shoot out. Ooh, I can't duck under it. I don't know that. Yeah, so when you're in this state, can't do anything until you hit a wall.
Hey, they're polar bears. Eh?
I get it.
So, question of the
How'd you
part.
come up with that? That was pretty good.
I'm so smart. That's the thing. My IQ's a million. Question of the part. How you doing today? Right now. How you doing? YouTube land, let us know. Alex, it's been a while. Maybe you want to comment on this and let us know that you're still our #1 fan. Or not, you don't have to. It's fine.
Has he, not been commenting recently?
I personally haven't seen any.
Oh, I think I found out some sort of weird glitch.
Nice. I like that. He's hitting it with his
It seems like it's also kind of faster. I bet speedrunners do this.
Speedrunners, do you do that? Yes. Oh, dang. No, polar bear!
Man, replaying this game, because when I was like, I'm gonna do this game, I played this game for 8 hours straight. And especially starting a new file without any power-ups, it's weird.
Heh. That is true, though.
I like his little jig. He's so excited, he's just
Wario likes chess.
He likes money. Wario was before Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs is just a knockoff of Wario.
Yeah, that's true. Dang, Wario was what? Mario Land 2 was 94?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but Wario didn't really become...
He was also not the I like money character like the first one.
Not until Wario Land. In Wario Land he was.
Yeah.
Well, that was around the same time. Who stole off who? Also, only one character in the history of the world can be I like money. Only one! SpongeBob still exists. In that they're still making new episodes for it.
And it's probably terrible, but I don't know.
I'm sure. I feel like when the creator passed, they should have been like, you know what?
Dude, that's
We're
the
good.
only thing Nickelodeon has.
That is true, though.
They would never let it go.
Viacom, who I think owns Nickelodeon, I'm pretty sure, should have been like, Steven Hillenburg, you're absolute god tier. Please never leave us. Please always make SpongeBob. What's happening here? Oh.
I think I'm at the right place. I'm dizzy.
Oh, it's slightly annoying. Do you only become not dizzy when you touch water, or is it just after a period of time?
I think you have to touch water or something. Okay, red chest. Red key. Interesting.
Oh my god, I just got it. I just put 2 and 2 together. You ready for this? This is gonna blow your mind. You ready?
Oh,
Red, green, silver, This is the Game Boy Color.
Whoa.
So they could have colors! Yo, this is going to be an old school reference for any of you boomers watching this for any reason. You ready?
I'm flattened.
He's flattened with big eyes! Ugh. Oh, and you can't be grabbed by those things now.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's an old school reference. You ready? You ready, boomers? The colors, Duke! The colors! That is an old popsicle commercial where it was like... I think the whole meme of it was that these popsicles had like a bunch of different like colors with them or something like that. And the kid was like freaking out about the colors. And he's talking to his dog. Okay? You following so far?
Yeah.
I know this is very cerebral. Anyway, so he's like, the colors, Duke! And then the dog looks at him and goes, I'm colorblind, kid. That's what I grew up on.
Dang.
I know, dude. I'm literally gonna see if I can find that commercial. I guarantee, if it exists, it's on the YouTubes. You ever hear of YouTube?
I haven't heard of that.
Well, it's kind of a big deal because the Complete in Box Baby's on it.
Oh man, it sounds like they have millions of subscribers.
How
do I know what that is?
They have millions of subscribers by, like, millions of Alex Swingles, so... Yeah, essentially.
Alright, time for boss number 2. This one's pretty easy. The thing that you could get messed up on is, ooh... I got BTFO. So that's one of the fail states of when you get hit, you get put into a roll ball. So you gotta do it again. So that's usually how most bosses work. Which is interesting. Sometimes it can be annoying, but most of the times it's good.
It was put up 13 years ago on YouTube. 442,000 views. What if I said 442 million views? Yeah, this random commercial has 442 million views. Just want to let you know that.
So luckily, I think basically every boss does the standard Mario rule of 3 hits.
Let's go. Oh,
Bump.
yeah. Ba, 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 ba. We in it. Aww.
Yeah, warriors should not be holding something that peaceful sounding.
So how does this open something?
Makes the bridge go
Oh,
down.
come on!
Some of them are pretty cool. Like, you really destroy this island by the end.
It sounds like we have birds upstairs.
Yeah, it does.
I don't understand what's going on. When my wife has family over, it just sounds like a bunch of birds. Get it? But no, it actually sounds like birds.
Oh.
Get Shrek'd. Get Shrek'd.
Yeah, you gotta get into a certain rhythm, which...
So, yeah, as you can tell, like, later in the game, I specifically remember, like, a lot of parts being, like, kind of like this, where, like, they make you do, like, long periods of stuff without messing up, if that makes sense.
That's its entire game. Because of this design of you can't die, it constantly puts you into do-or-die situations. Because you can just do it over and over and over and over.
I kind of remember a specific level that you have to be the zombie for a long period of time, and it's, like, really difficult. I might be wrong there, but...
Yeah, you're probably thinking of... Well, we'll get to it. Not this part.
But, like, you have to, like, constantly avoid, lights, and it's, like, pretty difficult.
Yeah, another interesting thing about this game, for a platformer on the Game Boy Color, this game is long. This might actually take, like, 3 entire sit-downs, maybe 4. It definitely helps that they can reuse every stage 4 times. But even in the reused stages, they always have to add, like, 1 or 2, like, entire new areas. This game is just massive.
Oh, that's the dog squeaking a squeak toy.
Okay.
That's what it is. I was like, what is going on? The big bridge. Bum, bum, bum. This is the most peaceful one so far.
Yeah, it's really interesting that and cool that every stage has its own night and day music. Obviously, they do reuse some stuff, but didn't mean to go in there.
Rip.
Meant to fall down over here.
You're not forgiven. You wasted 3 seconds. Restart the run.
I just wasted 5 seconds there, although I got a coin.
I'm literally seething.
Do I go up first? Yeah. No.
No! Man, 100% running this game must be, like, pretty complex routing for, like, the speedruns. I can't imagine this game's fun to speedrun.
This game, unfortunately, has a very, it has a wall hack glitch where you can just jump on a wall over and over and over again, and it kind of ruins it. Obviously, there's glitchless speedruns, but obviously the one people care about is that one, which is unfortunate. There's some times when it's just sort of the unfortunate reality of speedrunning that if a really big glitch comes out, but it's for a game that isn't like super duper popular like Ocarina of Time, it can kind of just ruin it.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. So you can't get this in one.
Doesn't seem like it. Nice.
What?
I don't know. Maybe this is the bounce. I know
that
if
must
you,
be the bounce.
I know if you hit it in the back blue portion of that bar, it does like a backspin, and the front portion is a front spin. But I don't think I hit it there.
Is the minigame always just one?
Oh, I forgot the key. It's literally out.
Nice.
Yeah, and the minigame is always just mini golf. Do it one time.
Ah.
As the game goes forward, they ask for more coins to start it, but yeah, it's a little disappointing there.
I like the.
I mean, if it was just like used like once or twice, I think it would be better. But you do mini golf like probably like 20 times throughout the game.
Did Wario Land 1 have minigames?
It's been a while. I don't remember.
Didn't it have a slot thing?
Yes.
You know what game has...
Wario Land 1, it's like, once you figure out that cheat where you push select a bunch of times, and then you can just alter your lives to be 9-9.
Oh, yeah.
No reason to do minigames. No.
You know what game has the best minigames for no reason? Mario 64 DS.
Yeah. Although that game, it felt like the minigames were there just to be like, we're the DS, we gotta justify the system.
Gotta have a touch parts.
Because 64 DS is like the weirdest game ever made, because it's it's a remake of Mario 64, which is a game that pioneered the analog stick. They made an entire console just to do Mario 64, and then they're like, okay, 8 years later, here's your remake of Mario 64 with a D-pad. Here you go.
RIP!
It's so weird.
I guess you could play it with touchscreen.
Yeah.
Right? Touchscreen movement?
But
You
I
could.
don't even think Nintendo cared about that. I don't know. And it sucks because there's so many, like, you can play as different characters and there's extra stages. But
also, the DS sucks for lefties. I'm just saying.
that is true.
I, like, could never play the DS normally because...
Very rarely there would be, like, a dual mode.
Yeah.
Like, something like Metroid Prime Hunters, but that's, like, very specifically something.
I've actually never played, or even considered playing Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks because of the controls. And you know what? I'll probably finally play Skyward Sword when it comes out on the Switch. Like, not right away, but like eventually I'll be like, yeah, I'll play Skyward Sword. Because, my god, that game's gonna be... It's a $60 remake, but my god, it's gonna sell so well. It's gonna be unbelievable, because so many people didn't play it, because not only did it have Waggle, which people didn't like, obviously, but you had to have the Wii Motion Plus thing, which was super annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of more problems with Skyward Sword other than just waggle. Obviously, that's a huge problem, but I hope people don't get burned on that game. Because it is the most tedious Zelda ever. Please. No. I'm doing off.
I mean, to me, looking on the outside in, having never played it, Breath of the Wild seems pretty tedious with its, like, billion things to collect.
Well, I mean, the entire game's conceit is that everything is optional. So even though it's a world with a million things in it, you really don't have to do any of it if you don't want to. Skyward Sword has so much backtracking. It's 3 main areas. Your typical water, then grass, then like lava, Death Mountain area. And they make you go back to them 3 times a piece for increasingly arbitrary reasons. And it doesn't help that the Link that you play as is like just a freaking idiot. And you constantly are like too late for like certain key events. And like people will be like, oh, do this to do this thing. And like even just getting the Master Sword. I mean, the entire game's thing is...
Dang! They brilliantly set this up to be as annoying as possible.
Yeah.
Like, all the holes are... Wow. Well, let me ask you this, because I haven't played... What's the last Zelda game I played? Wind Waker. Although I watched you play Twilight Princess. What's the last... I don't know what word you want to use. Classic, or masterpiece, or whatever Zelda game? I mean, you played Breath of the Wild, so you can say Breath of the Wild too. I know people like just...
I definitely don't think it's a masterpiece for sure. I think it's a good game, but it has a lot of flaws.
Wind Waker?
Even Wind Waker has a lot of issues. No! Man, I am choking so hard. I'm just like focusing on talking.
No, it's okay.
Instead of playing. I really liked Link Between Worlds and 3DS. Although that really is just a rehash of Link to the Past. I mean, it literally uses the same exact map.
That's one that I really ought to play.
It's a good game. It's one of those games that's like, it's really fun and you don't want to put it down. And it's just short enough that you can finish it in like a day or 2.
Nice.
I mean, if you are off and that's all you do.
Right. Oh.
Dude.
They have it set up perfect.
I know, but
this person's the biggest butt. Whoever made this level is the biggest butt.
That's sort of the unfortunate thing about this game. Especially since doing one mistake makes you redo an entire platforming section. It can get a little frustrating that way. Although...
Alright, well, let's... Can you get up there?
I don't think so.
I want to ask a question, but I'll wait till after this. Because we Gucci. Easy.
Almost seems like this is a plot.
Alright, so we'll remember that is on the side. I have a Zelda-related question. We're going to wait until he finishes
No,
this.
just ask it.
Are you
I don't
sure?
want this to be dead air for
Alright.
5 minutes.
What would... I know we're playing Wario, but we can talk about whatever. K, YouTube. What are the masterpiece or absolute classic, like ones that if you're just like, what's a 10 out of 10? Like, as far as 10 out of 10 is concerned, I, like, whatever, like 9 or 10 out of 10, like, masterpieces Zelda games. For the ones I played, I'm going to say, I'm going to be pretty hardcore. I'm only going to put 2 on it, and that being Link to the Past and Link's Awakening. My rationale is Zelda 1, I don't think it's like very, it changed everything, but I don't think it's a great game by today's standards. Zelda 2, enough said there. Just a very weird game. Ocarina of Time, I could definitely understand people's things saying it's like masterful, and I could understand that. That one would I'd consider it. Majora's Mask has way too many weird things to be considered a masterpiece, in my opinion. And Wind Waker, I thought about it, but there is a lot of essentially dead air. And, like, there's a reason I haven't gone back and played that game again, because it's, has a lot of dead air.
Wind Waker is literally a half-finished game, and there's really nothing you can do about it.
And then Twilight Princess, I watched Trev play the whole thing, and it did not make me want to... It did not make me want to play it. Like, it seems fine, but watching it didn't make me go, oh, man, I gotta play that myself. You know what I mean?
Now,
so
where is the where's the red chest? I didn't put it in my notes for some reason.
It's gotta be to the right.
Hopefully. It wasn't up there.
To the right?
No, I mean,
Oh, at the top, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, I wonder what power-up we're gonna get someday.
Nothing. This is confusing. It makes my super high IQ hurt.
Why is it, like, weird? It's, like, not positioned right for some reason.
Yeah, you need to...
Need to bring that one up. I'm gonna do this the whole time. It's like not right. I don't know why.
Oh, you can't even go underwater right now. God.
Okay, that did reset it.
So when you fall down, it resets it?
I think so, yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay, so I think I just don't want to do that. I don't know why this stage is... when I did this first try, when I was playing it, it was just like, oh, it's just a stage.
It's literally the dog.